The doctor's face changed the moment he looked at the baby. Not confusion, not concern, fear. He stared down at the newborn, then slowly lifted his eyes toward me. The color drained from his face like someone had pulled a plug. Then he leaned closer and whispered two words. "Run! Just run!" Behind the curtain, my wife screamed. "Why isn't anyone letting me see my baby?" The room felt suddenly smaller, colder. The machines hummed louder than they should have. I looked down. Just one glimpse. That was all it took. By the next morning, I had filed for divorce. 3 years earlier, I thought I had the perfect life. Emily had a laugh that could disarm a room. We met at a charity event downtown. She spilled wine on my shirt and insisted on buying me dinner to apologize. That dinner turned into 5 hours of conversation. 6 months later, we moved in together. A year after that, we were married. Emily had a way of making the future feel inevitable. Like every good thing was already decided. The house, the vacations, the baby we planned to have. When she told me she was pregnant, she cried. I did too. I thought those were tears of happiness. Looking back now, I realized something else lived behind them. Guilt. The first strange thing happened during the 2nd month of her pregnancy. She became protective. Not of the baby, of her phone. Emily had always been open, casual. She'd leave her phone anywhere. Suddenly it was glued to her hand. Bathroom, kitchen, even the shower. One night it buzzed while she was asleep. I wasn't planning to check it, but the name on the screen caught my eye. Marcus. Just one message. Does he suspect anything? My stomach twisted. When I asked her about Marcus the next morning, she didn't hesitate. Just a coworker, she said. Her smile came too quickly. I wanted to believe her, so I did.
But lies have weight.
And eventually, they start bending the truth around them. Over the next few months, I noticed more things. Secret calls outside, late meetings that never matched her office schedule, a perfume she claimed she'd never bought. Each clue was small, individually harmless. Together, they built a quiet certainty in the back of my mind. Something was wrong. Still, I said nothing. I waited. 7 months into the pregnancy, the final piece arrived. Not through snooping. Through carelessness. Emily left her laptop open on the dining table. An email thread blinked on the screen. Marcus again. This time the words were clearer. I can't believe we're actually having a baby together. I sat there for a long time. Reading. Rereading. Waiting for some alternative explanation to appear. None did. The baby Emily carried wasn't mine, and she had planned to let me believe it was. That night, I didn't confront her. I kissed her goodnight. I told her I loved her. Then I began planning. The first thing I did was call a lawyer. Quietly. Discreetly. I documented everything. Screenshots, emails, financial records. In our state, paternity mattered in divorce settlements. If I was legally declared the father before discovering the truth, I could be responsible for child support for 18 years. I wouldn't let that happen. So I waited. I let the pregnancy continue. I let Emily believe her secret was safe. Then the day came. Labor started at 3 in the morning. I drove her to the hospital while she squeezed my hand and cried through contractions. "I'm so glad you're here," she whispered. I said nothing. Inside, something had already gone cold. Hours later, we were in the delivery room. Doctors moved quickly. Nurses shouted instructions. Then finally, the baby arrived. A small cry filled the room, and the doctor froze. He looked down at the newborn, then at me. His face went pale. That's when he leaned close and whispered, "Run! Just run!" I didn't move. Instead, I looked. Just one glance. That was all I needed. The baby had deep brown skin. Marcus was African American. Emily and I were both very, very white. There was no confusion. No explanation. Just truth. Emily was still screaming behind the curtain. "Why can't I see my baby?" The doctor quietly handed the child to a nurse. Then he looked at me again. Understanding flashed in his eyes. He knew. I nodded once. Then I walked out. The next morning, Emily woke up in the hospital to 2 things. An empty chair beside her bed, and divorce papers. My lawyer had them delivered before noon. Included with them were printed copies of every message she'd ever sent Marcus. Every lie, every plan, every betrayal. She called me 23 times that day. I never answered. Instead, I sent one message. Just 5 words. Ask Marcus to sign the birth certificate. A week later, the paternity test confirmed what everyone already knew. The child wasn't mine. Marcus disappeared the moment the truth surfaced. Emily tried to fight the divorce, but the evidence crushed her case. Infidelity, fraud, intentional paternity deception. The judge didn't hesitate. 6 months later, the house was mine. The accounts were mine. Emily left with almost nothing. Sometimes people ask if I regret walking out of that delivery room, if I feel guilty, if I think about the child. The truth? I do, but not in the way people expect. Because in that moment, when the doctor whispered, "Run," I realized something important. For 9 months, Emily believed she was the one deceiving me. She thought she controlled the story. But the truth is, I had known long before the baby was born. And I stayed, quietly, patiently, waiting for the perfect moment for the lie to destroy itself. Some people call that revenge. I call it justice.